Hello and welcome to the first episode. What we want to do is the night. Sorry, the morning after the Euros. Let me just get the title together because we want to do this for the next 1 month. So not the night, but the morning after the Euros. And Anshuman, what was that yesterday all about? Yesterday, I think made everybody realize, or at least the two of us, that football is not important. Hidden on. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, that is going to be the headline, at least for the next few days. Like, that's what's going to be like, never seen something like this live, like, honestly. Another time it happened a few years ago. I think it was in Scotland or something when somebody collapsed on the pitch.
Frederick
And
Muamba.
Mwamba, I think, yeah. And I don't know, I don't remember the details of what happened, but this one like it was weird. Like I was watching this and I wasn't focusing too much on it. Like I had just recently moved, so I was just putting my stuff away and this was on in the background, and then suddenly I turn around and the commentary is going that Ericsson has collapsed.
Yeah.
And then you're suddenly sitting there wondering, like, I didn't even look at the screen much, honestly. I don't know, because like you don't know what's going on, everybody's lost, the camera director is zooming right into
Yeah,
what's
what's
going on.
I wanted to bring up to that. What the fuck was wrong with that guy? Like zooming into first Ericsson, then the team, then the wife. Oh God, like was that
Yeah,
necessary? Like point up for
yeah.
debate. Go for it.
Well, on I don't know, honestly, but, well, because for somebody who hadn't seen it, I'll be very honest. uh, it was you were trying to figure out what was going on in terms of what's happening, but
Hmm.
after a few seconds you realize that something has gone horribly wrong, and then you don't really want to look,
Yeah,
honestly. You it's hard to watch, and I didn't watch the rest of the game. I don't know, it meant nothing. That game meant nothing, did it? Like,
yeah, yeah.
what was it supposed to mean?
I mean,
And actually, funnily enough, it's Finland's first win in the Euros ever. So
something
such
had
a
to give.
monumental victory for them, like kind of reminding us of what happened in Iceland. But no, those reminders are not going to happen because,
Uh,
like, because somebody collapsed on the pitch, and I don't know, like, there's so much we can talk about with this, honestly. Like, there are so many different threads that we can pull trying to figure out what happened and what it means. But I think I don't know. Like, tell me what you think. I don't know what to say.
ooh. Okay. Firstly, I think there was a time in my life where I wanted to be like this TV producer, the camera producer, and
Hmm.
what that guy did yesterday was not something that I will be inspired from. Like, okay, I know your job is to like distribute pictures all
Yeah.
around the world, but not at this cost. Like, this is not what it comes down to. And then after that, you have the audacity to look for that player's wife in the stands, and
Yeah,
then
that's the part that that's the point of no return kind of thing, isn't it? When
true.
you start looking for the wife.
Yeah, yeah. But then again, like I was quite surprised that Denmark decided to play. Well, good on them that they did. There are only two ways it's going to go, and it's a cliche that it's going to go horribly wrong or they're going to be just inspired. So then in the next day in the tabloids, the papers are going to be like, wow, they were inspired by such a bad event happening, or like they could just sympathize and empathize with them. Like there was no way they could like lift themselves up and inspire them and like get that energy going, especially when somebody is like fighting for their lives. Even though there were rumors that he was the one who FaceTimed them to like go on and play because they had an
Yeah,
option.
I don't know what to believe, honestly. And regardless of whether Christian Ericksen said they should play or not, I don't think those players should have played. Like, the mental space that you're in with what's going on,
Yeah,
like, if those players decided on their own, yeah, we want to play for Christian, good on them, fair enough.
yeah.
But honestly, I don't know. Even for the Finnish players, like, just watching a colleague just randomly collapse on
It
a
could have
football
been one
pitch.
of them.
Yeah, somebody, and these guys are supposed to be in their athletic prime. Like, these are supposed to be the elite of the elite in terms of physical fitness.
True.
And then a 29-year-old just suddenly collapses. He's 29 years old. In football terms, he's old, but in actual life,
It's
he's
quite
a
young.
kid.
Yeah.
29 years old is nothing. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. That yesterday was absolutely crazy. And
Yeah, football didn't matter yesterday, but yeah, well, good on Finland. They got their first win in the Euro finals. So, like I said before, something had to give. But let's not dwell into this. A lot will be spoken about, a lot will be written about, and all we can say is like, good luck to him. I really found it inspiring and like very adoring, more of the word that I was looking
hmm,
for, that the entire football community getting together.
yeah,
It just gave me a vibe like, okay, I have often seen this happen in Formula One, because these 20 drivers always feel that it could
yeah,
be,
but Formula One, you're closer to death also. Like that's
yeah,
kind of part of the sport. Like that's how it works, right? That's why
yeah,
those guys are there, because they know that death is right next to them. Like they're cheating death, aren't they? Like
yes,
in the movie Rush, James Hunt talks about it. So
true.
yeah,
But yeah, we are not here for Formula One. And
yeah,
so let's move to the first game of the European Championship. And Italy have won or have been unbeaten for the last 28 games. I don't fancy
yeah,
them, but there's something that Roberto Mancini is doing that is nothing related to his charm, to his
yeah.
way he's dressing, or to his
Hmm.
hair. So what what do you think are their chances? How
Well,
far?
first on Mancini, like, is he? I don't know how to rate Mancini overall as a career. Like, it's a weird one, isn't it?
Yep.
Like, he's won a lot. He's won a lot of things, but either he's been overshadowed, as it happened with Inter Milan and Jose,
Yep.
or it's been a weird one. Like the departure has been weird, which kind of creates problems for what happened before. Even though he won Man City, it's their first title in a long time.
True.
I don't know what kind of opinion Man City fans have of Mancini, but whatever is going on with this Italy side, they look awesome, and the players, and like they're a dark horse, right? Like no, most people don't expect, especially after what happened in 2018 with them not qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I don't get is how are Bonucci and Chiellini still
Still playing.
playing and
Where
starting for
is
this team?
where is the talent pool? Like, that's what I get it. Like, the last time an Italy team like had my jaw drop was when I was like 12 years old, and you know what
Hmm.
happened then. Like, they had all those superstars when they won the World Cup, and then
Yeah,
from there on, it's just been like a free fall until for the next 12 years. Like, they reached the Euros finals in 2012, but yeah, there were no
yeah,
games.
they were not
There were no
winning that.
games.
Let's be very honest.
There
That
were
was
no games
Spain's
for them.
tournament through and
Yeah,
through.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, something has to give, like, with them, but given that they've not been beaten in the last 28 games, but also they've not played like the top six with the likes of,
Hmm.
I can't believe I'm putting Portugal there, but they always do well in the Euros. So Portugal, Spain, Germany have been awful. Let's not put them there,
Yeah,
but Belgium and France. So they've not played like these five good
yeah,
teams.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you get them to play with Poland, I think Poland will give them a game. And that's how much they've fallen. Like,
Yeah, but
Italy
I
has
think
done.
that's how much we don't know about them, because, as you clearly said, like they haven't played these big sides, so we don't really know how they'll deal with. And especially, I don't know what kind of, like, the forward line and everything. They don't really scream impressive. Like Ciro Immobile, yeah, he scored a lot of goals in Syria, but a lot of players have gone to Syria to score a lot of
Of
goals.
goals. Yeah.
So that tells you how far Syria, Italy, and Syria have fallen. Like that's the league where people go to score goals, which was the opposite around 10 years ago, even 12 years
Yeah.
ago. The
Yeah.
most defensively sound players used to come from Italy, but now it's the absolute opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And but this team and this version of Italy looks interesting. Actually, they're in a good spot, aren't they? When you really think of it let me elaborate in what way I'm thinking.
True.
If they fail,
Okay.
nobody would really criticize them too much for failing.
Yeah.
But
If
if they do
they
well,
do well, then
they'll
everybody's
be
like going.
applauded for doing well. And that's the kind of spot your team wants to be in. Like that's the spot Gareth Southgate he would have a fantasy of that kind of realm of living, which is
Yeah.
impossible to attain, where a team will be happy. Like because it happened in 2018 with like people are again shit. It's England, but
Yeah, but I mean, come on, like, people
yeah,
were people were deluded by their run, like they hardly played anybody. Okay, I mean, they got
yeah, that's a
lucky.
whole different topic.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
discuss it when we talk about the
When we are
England
playing
team.
England, but yeah, let's
Yeah.
stick to
Okay, let's
Italy.
talk about this game actually. Let's talk about I mean,
Do you have some thoughts?
well,
Because I was watching the game with with an Italian friend and a Turkish friend. So like, to
Oh,
be
okay.
honest,
Yeah. You got best of both worlds kind of scenario,
yeah,
isn't it?
best of both worlds. Like, uh, honestly, I like the first half. Oh, I was like, oh Jesus. The last time there was a major footballing tournament, the first game, like even though it was not the most spectacular game in terms of like the countries, Saudi Arabia playing Russia, but you got goals and you got
Oh, what a
entertainment.
game. That was such an excellent game.
That
That's
was a
such a good
game
benchmark for that World Cup,
for the
right?
World
Because
Cup.
that
Yeah,
World Cup was awesome. It's my favorite like time of existence, honestly, like those
yeah,
1.5 months of the 2018 World Cup.
I know, loved it. So
Yeah.
the first 45 minutes left a lot to be desired. I was like, okay, what's happening here? Like, nothing is happening. I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
guys, something has to give. And then I was like, okay, second half, okay. Then my Turkish friend is like, okay, you just watch. You're not watching. You're in the phone. I'm like, I'm in my phone because nothing's happening. And then I was like, I gave it a go, and then like some things started happening, and it was a much better second half. Like
Yeah.
even from Turkey, and actually with Turkey, I think they just didn't turn up. They're quite a decent
Yeah.
team.
A lot of people have been quite impressed by what this Turkish team is. And I didn't see, like, I watched the first half, most of it, and I didn't see anything that was interesting about their game. They were completely on the low block. Italy were the ones who were trying to push it, and they weren't getting real close. Like Nicolo Barella was taking shots from 30 yards out, and that was basically what we were getting as a game. Italy created chances in the first half, but it still uh, Turkey didn't turn up at all. Like Turkey
Yeah, they did
was
not. They don't.
unimpressive. At least first half, I can tell you. Like second half, I missed out a bit,
Yeah,
but first half, nothing. I saw nothing.
yeah, yeah. They I think they had a spell like just before they conceded the second goal, like a 3 minute spell,
Hmm.
and then again like after the third goal there was hardly anything, but there was this three
Yeah.
minute spell after before the second goal, and this between 75 to 79 they again like played for a good 4 to 5 minutes well, but
Okay.
again there was nothing that they could take from the game. But I think they should make it out of the group. We are not going to have another Wales kind of run where they are going to, I
Well,
think,
yeah,
which
almost
brings us,
everyone's going to make out of the group, isn't it? That's just how it's
which makes,
structured. Is
yeah, um which I think which makes us transition to the next game with Wales and Switzerland. That was a game. Like this should have been like a,
this was actually quite fun. Like it was a set piece game, but it was a fun
oh,
game to
yeah.
watch. Like
I mean, what do you
almost
expect?
all the chances were on set pieces or something.
True,
Breel Embolo turned up from somewhere.
true, true.
Breel Embolo was the guy who was I was watching on the pitch. He was really good to watch.
Hmm.
And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, even I was watching the game, but like a lot of flicks, a lot of corners, a lot of free kicks, which should have gone in and did not go in, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so like quite the quite the game, especially considering like the strongest players left-footed, they can like really whip the ball with Bale and
Mhm.
Shaqiri. So Shaqiri had like this assist for the Switzerland's first goal. Wales made it up, but yeah, I think from this group I still expect Italy and Turkey to go through.
Yeah. And
Was with
funniest of all, I think Dan James was the best player on the pitch as long as he was there. He was the only Wales threat that was there. Like first half, Wales weren't really a big threat. Like they were able
Yeah,
to get
true.
some set pieces and they were a set piece threat. But the person who got them to those set pieces was Dan James,
Yeah,
somebody who's supposed to be a completely useless footballer. Because being a Manchester United fan, you know how fans are.
yeah,
Either they rate you something like Marcus Rashford, who's a saint in real life, but on the football pitch he's been a bit poor.
yeah.
So either you're completely on top or you're completely in the dumps. And Dan James was completely in the dumps,
Hmm.
and he was honestly Wales' best player. I actually thought so. Like Bale was there. Bale didn't really do much, in my opinion. And Kiefer Moore was interesting. I actually liked what he brought because he brought a dimension of attack that actually resulted in a goal and resulted in chances for Wales. So
Yeah. So what do you think? Like with this current format, I'm not a big fan of like the, the best of four best third position teams go through the
yeah, it kills it.
yeah,
It's there is no competition per se, is there? Like it's going to result in something weird. Like it might be interesting to watch, especially with how the mathematics and the goal differences and head to heads
yeah,
will work. It will be interesting that way. But from an actual competitive standpoint, like for the teams to fight, like Wales and Switzerland were very happy with the draw, and they should be very happy with the draw, because
because
they'll be
Turkey
like, we
lost.
get 4 points out of the
Yeah.
group and we'll qualify. This is the hardest group to qualify from, though, so the results here will really matter.
I mean, do you
Um,
uh can all four qualify? I just thought like the first three.
no, the three will have to qualify.
Yeah,
That
the
is
first
why
three will.
it's that this
Yeah.
is that, because these three teams are like, Italy might be a cut above the other three, but like might, even that's not 100% sure. And as we saw from the honestly, I can't tell. I don't know what this Italy team is still now. So, but Turkey, Wales, and Switzerland, they'll all have their work cut out, and they're all three pretty good teams.
Yeah.
So they should, it'll be this group will be the one to watch. The rest of them, like the Portugal one is supposed to be the group of death. Portugal, France, Germany.
Yeah.
But yeah, just beat the shit out of Hungary and you'll qualify. Isn't that how it'll work?
Yeah, everybody's going to get like, yeah. Everybody wants the bridesmaid, I guess, or the bride.
Yeah.
However you want to
Yeah,
take it,
like
or whichever part of the world you've studied. Yeah. Which brings me to like the group B, and I really want to like just very briefly touch upon the penalty from Pierre. Sorry, not Pierre. Højbjerg. Emil Højbjerg. What was that like? Firstly, I mean, I'm guessing that he doesn't take the penalties because Ericksen is the one who takes the penalties.
Yeah.
He's number 2. So like, imagine I was thinking like, yeah, he should like, given like the Viking legs he has, he should like put it in
Just
the top
smash
corner,
it.
somebody. Yeah. Given that he smashes 30 yarders. So I was like, yeah, he's gonna have this Ericsson jersey underneath the Denmark jersey, so already ready to celebrate. And then he tries to slide it. I'm like, oh, wow, why?
Oof.
It was painful to watch. I was like, ooh, yeah, could have taken a point
like
from the game.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just saying like they could have taken a point for that game, no matter how difficult it is. I mean, of course, it's easier for me to like sit here and talk about it and not actually feel what they were feeling through. Of course, I was a bit down and like really trying to contemplate, okay, it's not possible for somebody to die on a pitch. That just doesn't happen. But people who know them and their own like almost like close, they're almost a family, and then they come from the same country. They have
Quite a lot of them must have known each other for like 15 years, because like these international systems, you from the youth, right, you start playing together, and these teams are formed over such a number of years. Like some of them are like club mates and stuff like that. And like Højbjerg was even there at Tottenham for a while with Ericsson, right? Like so
no, not exactly, but yeah.
Oh, okay, 6 months apart. Right. Yeah. Okay, I got confused. I thought Ericsson went this transfer window. It was last transfer window.
Mm-hmm.
So last Jan, I mean. So, I mean, this is like watching something like that and actually being able to play a football after that. I don't know how these guys did it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even, I couldn't watch it. Like playing it, actually being part of it, being there. Like, another thing I wanted to touch upon, like how, like what is there something lacking in football medicine, like trying to figure out how this guy went through something like this? Because he would not be like, if it was somebody like a normal person, if he's a smoker or a drinker, or they have these kinds of habits which automatically puts your body at risk, like then you would understand having a cardiac arrest. But I mean, this guy is not one of those people. Like somebody who has to be absolutely conscious about their health, what they put in their body, what kind of workout, what kind of things they'll be doing. They'll be monitored by staff. Like,
I mean, the inter doctor was like, he's always passed his tests. He's never been positive for COVID, and like always returned negative. So no COVID history, of course, but also in terms of physical fitness, always like there, like top drawer. So like I mean, I guess there's a lot.
So that leads me to the question: is there something lacking with the tests? Like, do we need to figure out, like, is there a missing piece in this puzzle? Like, is there some, like, I think we are not experts, so I'm not trying to suggest that I know more, but I'm just asking the question: do we need to look at how footballers are being tested and what kind of monitoring, or is it
Yeah.
just an aberration? It's not happened before, so it's just an
Yeah.
isolated incident mainly.
I think
But
the last case was like 7, 8 years back. So now, I mean, it doesn't happen quite often, but you don't want it to happen like ever. Maybe
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
maybe
No,
this is like,
that's why I asked the question, and that is why, like, that is the disclaimer for my question. Like,
yeah.
it's not happened that frequently, so if it's hard to find a pattern. But looking at this isolated case, is there anything that we can figure out in terms of figuring out where is there a underlying problem to what happened to Christian Ericksen, or is it just an aberration?
Yeah. Well, I guess this is maybe one of the interesting topics for somebody who's studying sports science.
Yeah,
Give it to him. Like, we are not experts, but yeah, I mean, the world, at least the world that I live in, has a lot of element of hope in it. So, and science just comes along and makes things easier. So, yeah.
well, yeah, just I'm just glad he's okay. Like,
Yeah.
and another question is, when is he going to come back and play? Like,
I don't think so. He should be playing, not like again, but he shouldn't be playing
yeah,
next two
you tell
games.
it to Christian Eriksen about that. I'm pretty sure like he'll be back,
He'll be the first
and
one to like,
he'll be the first one to say I'm going to come back. And you
Mhm.
can't stop something like that. Like, it's impossible, right? Like for that person, he's dedicated his whole life. Regard, like, the money and all those things don't mean anything. Just you and the ball.
Yeah.
That's what your whole life has been about. And you can't stop yourself from do, like,
Mhm.
it's your, like, everything. The sport gave you everything, and you gave everything to the sport. How can you not, like, how will he not come back? Like, I don't
True.
think it's possible for him
Yeah.
to not come back.
Yeah. I mean, for him, of course not, but like, given how
Yeah.
strict,
Oh no, if it's medically it's a
yeah.
problem. Like, something like that happened to Chris Bosch, like, and Marcus Aldridge very recently. Like, some blood clot issue came up, and they had to retire. And it's the most painful decision for Christian Eriksen if he has to retire because of his medical condition.
Yeah, because
But yeah,
like, they've been taking the concussion pretty seriously. So I'm guessing like with
yeah,
what happened. Oh God, like, let's not dwell into this too much. Like, it's a very sensitive topic, but like
yeah.
to finish
It
off on
doesn't
it.
seem to be directly related to football, so I don't know
Yeah.
if football directly causes
I
that. I
mean,
don't know.
I'm,
It's
you,
impossible to tell, man.
you really
Honestly.
stretched it like by saying that I am not really expecting this to be the end of his career, but like you mentioned it, and now I'm thinking like, wow, that is a possibility of that
Yeah.
happening. And like somebody of his caliber, like he's the face of this generation's Denmark team, no?
And this
Along with,
Denmark team is supposed to be excellent. Like,
yeah,
this guy's not playing the Euros. That much we can
yeah,
almost be sure of.
hmm,
And well, like, the way these guys were able to, like, I didn't watch it directly, but from especially from what you're telling me, I don't think Denmark were able to handle it. And I don't know. It's a golden chance lost for them. Like, they could have done really well in this tournament. They could have really stamped themselves as a team and a country who are really on the rise and improving, and
yeah,
they're finding talent, and they're nurturing talent. And that is all secondary now because of this incident. And
hmm, yeah,
I don't know how Denmark will come out of this, and how, what kind of outlook they're supposed to have. It's an unprecedented situation, and it's really hard for everybody involved. Like, even the Finland players, it will be really hard for them to move on from this and, like, refocus themselves. Football is so, it means nothing when something like this happens, does it?
hmm, yeah, yeah. I mean, you said that Group A was like pretty tough to get out of. I was thinking that Finland would be the one to like not make it through, and now they have 3 points. And my God, the way Russia played last night, I was like, oh. I was watching, I was following their path when I was in Russia for the World Cup, and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
wow, the energy and the synergy with the crowd and
yeah.
everything is going for them. And yesterday I thought they're playing in St. Petersburg again. So I'm like, okay, World Cup 2.0. So they're like,
Hmm.
they're not going to like shock Belgium, but they're going to give them a game. And I was like, oh, what is that? Like 3 years is a long time. Of course, like 1 week is a long time in football,
Yeah.
but like 3 years just leaves like so much to be desired. And like, where is the energy? Like, you're still playing at home, but ah, that
Even the
game,
crowd was not that much
that
into it
game, I was
comparatively.
like, oh no, complete shadow of what happened 3 years back. And I'm like, with
Hmm.
this, especially considering that Finland already have 3 points now, I think Russia is the one who's going to like
Well,
not
yeah,
like
Denmark versus Russia, I think becomes a big fixture now, doesn't it? Like
yeah
that's the one that decides that
that
group at
group.
least. Like
Hmm.
let's see, because I don't know what will happen in Russia and Finland, because like Finland are a grind team, right? Like they'll grind out the results, which
Yeah,
is what happened here also.
yeah,
And so I think the Denmark Russia becomes a crucial fixture for this group.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
let's talk a bit about the Belgium team.
yes,
Let's talk
because
about the guy who basically ate the opposition up.
yeah, because
Like he,
there's nothing more I could like. That was the biggest compliment I could give them to Russia. Like they're a shadow of them of the team that they were 3 years back, and they better pull off their socks or yeah, pack your
yeah,
bags.
I am not expecting much from this Russia team, honestly. I
Yeah,
didn't have high hopes before coming into the tournament also. And
but yeah, their opponents, oof, they are on song. Like they they hit it. They hit it right from the start. Like some teams, like some elite teams, they take time because they know that they're good enough.
hmm,
And but wow, right from the start, go like 320 miles an hour, and
yeah,
they're scoring in the first minute, and like they don't have. I mean, the
they
brother.
don't have the best player in the world, in my opinion. They don't have Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin De Bruyne was not there. Axel Witsel, I don't know if Axel Witsel was not there, and even Hazard for me the most.
Hazard is basically not there. Like, what is Hazard supposed to be doing?
Yeah,
Like, he's not. His this season is completely doomed from Eden Hazard's perspective. He needs
but
to figure something out with the fitness issues, and like there is something completely off about him.
yeah, I think one man is on a mission, and like he got a brace yesterday. I'm like, wow, wow.
Okay, yeah, we have to talk about
We
this
have
man.
to
This is
address this
not
guy.
the Romelu Lukaku that I
This is
watched. I'll
like
be
the
very
Romelu
honest.
Lukaku 3.0, I guess.
Oh yeah, this is a completely different beast. This guy is the biggest factor of difference that I realized between Romelu Lukaku at United and Romelu Lukaku now is that Romelu Lukaku always knows what he's doing. Like
Mhm.
he has a like whenever he gets the ball or he's asking for the ball, there is a determination to him now. Like there is a mental switch that has been switched on by either Conte or Martinez or whoever in
Yeah.
the past 2 years, and that mental switch has switched on in Lukaku. And Lukaku now, whenever he's getting the ball, whenever his team is in possession or in attack, Lukaku knows what to do. And that determination, that decisiveness, the decision making that he's taken on in his game, like it helps players around him also, because the other players, now that they know what Romelu is going to try, they can try and feed him into it, and they can set him up that way. And it really helps everybody around him, because at United he used to be a bit hesitant with what he's supposed to do, and Mourinho as a manager wouldn't help in that kind of a scenario, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and even Ole is not the kind of person who will tactically tell you, okay, this is how you go about it, and this is how you will result in goals. Well, Romelu Lukaku, left up to his own devices, especially allowing him to get into his own head, is not the best version of this guy. The best
Mhm.
version of this guy is when he's figured out how to beat the opponent, and this guy has figured out how to beat the opponent. Like I don't know, in terms of basketball, I can compare. I don't know about. I haven't seen football in this sense. Like I haven't seen a footballer who was kind of lost, but then suddenly has figured out how
I
to
think
win. Like kind of like
yeah.
that. Like the way Jordan kind of figured out how to win, the way LeBron kind of figured out how to win. Like there is a switch that has to turn, and I think for Lukaku, watching this version of Lukaku, I don't know if he'll win something, but like he's won the Serie A already this year. I don't know if
Mhm.
he'll be a serial winner like a Ronaldo or a Messi, but this guy knows what to do now. This
Yeah.
guy knows how to handle his opposition, how to handle the defenders in front of him, how to handle the people who will drop back, and how to handle his teammates around him, how to set them up. Like Lukaku doesn't get credit for the fact that he's very smart also, like in terms of
He's he's go-
realizing the space around him.
yeah. I'm trying to guess who was captaining the side yesterday, but I think he is like the most. He's a great. He's the most outspoken person, and he can like really lead a side. Like he's got these leadership qualities to him. So
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Like
and
he was
very
always a
evident
smart
ones.
chap, honestly. Like he was always a smart guy. Like the
And
way he
very
talks
empathetic as
about.
well, because I remember this
Yeah,
game
yeah,
when you
yeah.
were playing versus Benfica, and then he somebody, was it him, like who tried to score from 40 yards, and the Benfica 18-year-old goalkeeper, like he just let it through, and after the game he was the first one to like come and console him and like be like,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I remember what game you're
this is your
talking about.
first
Yes, yes, yes,
night,
yes,
and
yes.
you have your life ahead of you, you have your career
Yeah,
ahead of
there was some freak issue where that 18-year-old, but that 18-year-old turned out to be really good, and he's still there at the club and he's playing. I
you. Yeah.
remember watching him after that, and But like he's always been a smart chap, and another problem that I think he had was the media. Like some players are just hounded by the media, right? Like some players are, because they're like, even Pogba is a bit that way. Like Pogba has
Yeah.
kind of figured it out a bit more now. But I think like Lukaku has basically shut them up, because Lukaku is just, he's worked on his game rather than on the media side of things. But yeah, the media used to bully him a lot, and he didn't handle that very well. Like that, I'm not saying it's Romelu's fault at all,
Yeah.
but sometimes when you're put in in an awkward situation or a tough situation, you will turn out not to be able to handle it, because it's not a situation that you should have been subjugated to in the first place. So I mean, this Lukaku is different. This Lukaku, I haven't seen much of Inter, so this is one of the first few games that I've actually watched Romelu play, and this is not the Lukaku at United at all, not even close.
He looks like a beast, and a shredded one, not like the actual beast like he was in United, where yeah, a lot was being said about his physicality and his first touch. This guy looks shredded.
The first touch was a bit of a problem, I'll be honest, and now it's not.
Yeah.
Well, he's turned it. I'm telling you, like everything, like his interpretation of space was always good, and now he's brought it into his dribbling and his touch also. Like he's more complete.
Yeah. Last two topics. Firstly is Yannick Carrasco. That guy's had like some redemption journey. To his life. Played really well for Atletico. Went to chase money to China. Then came back and like really was one of the stars of Atletico's campaign this season.
Yeah.
Stories of him being depressed in China, being alone, and like going through a breakup, all those sorts of things. So really glad for how his stories turned out to be. And now I think he's also reached a stage in his life where he's like really appreciative of what's around him. And sometimes it just takes you time to make your own decisions.
Even it kind of shows in his football also, because he used to be a winger, right? And a tricky winger kind of player. But
yesterday he had some moves. He still has some moves.
Yeah, he still has the moves, but that's not what his game is based on now. The game is not predicated on this dribbling ability. His game is predicated on, like, he's given his flank, like that's what Simeone did with him. He's like, keep this flank, run up and down, do whatever you have to. And he does it. He's always up and down. And that's what helps this Belgium team a lot, because when you have somebody like that who's effective on the on the attacking end, and then he's willing to put in a lot of defensive work for you, especially for a back three which has two players who are always slow, and now they're old as well. So so that really helped. Like in the Tottenham heyday, that backline of Vertonghen and Alderweireld was slow. Like Boyata is there, so you need another player now there.
Boyata is also 30 plus, so well.
But Boyata is more energetic than these two. So
true.
You don't notice it as much with Boyata, I'll be honest. I didn't know he was 30 plus, but yeah, you don't notice that thing as much. Like he does move around a lot more than the other two.
Well, wow. They look on song, and which finally brings me to like this is the final chance for them for their golden generation to finally do it, like make it through the line.
But do you think that golden generation thing is done? Like, I have a couple of thoughts on this. Like, I might go on for a bit, so stop me when you can.
Sure.
Okay, so the golden generation thing is fine. Like De Bruyne, Lukaku, these guys are all. They're not too, like, De Bruyne is a bit on the, like, the backline is a problem. The backline will be a problem from a golden generation perspective. But they've got young players coming up. Yuri Tielemans, he's one of my favorites. I love Yuri Tielemans. And look at his partner. Den Donker is also excellent. And that combination works really well. It's a combination that you would not expect to work 3 years ago. But Den Donker has developed his defensive side so well. Like, he can basically play center back now. He plays center back also a couple of times. And
they were running
that combination is that. Yeah, they ran the show. But honestly, I'll be honest, I'm not as impressed by Belgium as you are, because I thought this Russia side did not put up a fight.
No. I'm like yesterday. I think yesterday
they were good yesterday, but it's because their opposition was terrible.
Yeah, well, it's always the truth. But the thing is, they still had to turn up, and like they turned up.
Oh yeah, you have to. Yeah, no, fair. Especially in this tournament, like turning up in this tournament will mean a lot. Because I am not expecting most of these teams to turn up. Like Italy didn't turn up for half of it. Turkey, I don't know if they're even here now. And Denmark is a completely, now that thing is completely complicated. No idea how to gauge them and judge them. Finland also the same because they were the other side in that game. I think Wales and Switzerland
are the only ones
they're
who've
not
like,
great teams.
yeah, who've only given. I think this match was the only match that gave a good account of who the teams are, because the first game of two halves, the second game Switzerland and Wales, they actually showed what they are. The third game
Yeah.
we had the scenario. The fourth game, one did not turn up, one just had to be like, okay, just pass the ball into the net. So like
Yeah.
nobody's given a good account of themselves apart from these set piece teams, who I think the majority of the goals are going to come through set pieces for them and not through
Well,
open play.
I think Switzerland can still do well, but the problem is Switzerland have to figure out how to build this team around Embolo. Like they have to, because that's the guy who's going to create stuff for you. He scored the goal as well, and I think like the funniest thing about that thing was the game was that whenever Embolo had the ball, he could just attack that back line. Like he could just run through them.
Yeah.
And it made it, I don't know, like is that a Welsh team problem, or is that Embolo is hard to handle and gives you a completely different dimension to the other Swiss players? Because Shaqiri, I don't know, like I was not very impressed with what he was putting up, and
Well,
I think Ricardo Rodriguez was good, but yeah, that he's also a set piece guy. Like you have to have him in the game to give you set pieces.
Yeah.
So
the thing with the golden generation was like, I know it's a bit hyped. I'm not like for Belgium or like always with them. The thing that I mentioned with the golden generation was like, you mentioned Tielemans is there, and this up and coming generation is there, but like they are still not like household names, and they are not setting your.
Oh yeah, no, and I don't think they will be also.
So that is the element of like me saying this is.
Oh yeah, you might be right. They might become the next Switzerland or something like that. Yeah, you could. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because yeah, having somebody like De Bruyne, Lukaku, and Hazard, especially if all three were firing and on form, this team would be one of the favorites. But
because
the De Bruyne injury is a bit of an issue.
We've been hearing about these three like since they were 20, and and Tielemans I think is 24 now, so he's still like making a name for himself. So in that way, like
fair enough. Yeah. No, like that superstar level. I don't know if Tielemans will be a superstar, and I am questioning. It's a fair doubt to raise. That's fair. Like I think he will be, because I just love the things that he does.
Yeah.
And you don't. Sometimes you don't need superstar players to win you trophies. Luka Modric is not a superstar player, but Luka Modric is one of the.
How did you read my mind? Because I'm like, you don't need to be a superstar. You just need to get the ball ticking. And
well, Iniesta was the first example of that guy, right?
And
the guy who doesn't play like a superstar, but after a certain point, the people who try and find the pulse of football, they'll be like, this guy's the best who's ever done this. And Luka Modric is in that category, and I feel Yuri Tielemans might be in somebody like that.
And with Iniesta, like man of the match, World Cup final, 2012 European Championship final, and Champions League final in 15. So yeah, these are the players like who you think don't do a lot, but they are like the puppet
they don't do flashy stuff. It's not about doing a lot. Like you have to watch the games to realize what they're doing. Like you can't tell without it. Like honestly, like Toni Kroos is not Luka Modric, because Toni Kroos still has that set piece element to him, and he like, remember the goal he scored in the World Cup for Germany from basically the corner flag free kick that he took. Like you have those moments that you can put in highlight reels and show how good a player is. What will you put for Iniesta? Like what is that highlight reel supposed to mean? Like for a person who doesn't understand football, that would mean nothing.
Yeah.
But for somebody who understands how space interpretation works, like from observation, they'll be like, this guy's understanding of everything around him, this guy's accounting for the environment around him is unprecedented. Like unprecedented is wrong, because there are players before us who came before these guys who have done those things. But it's hard to see those kinds of things being done on a football pitch.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting. Like Tielemans is not that level at all. Like especially Iniesta, comparing him to Iniesta is blasphemy. But even Luka Modric, I think Luka Modric, the way even the way he sets up on corners, like the positions that he'll take up. The funny thing is, whenever a corner is cleared, Luka Modric is generally very close to the ball.
Yeah, he's the one. He's the one who gets the ball always.
Yeah,
like 99.
Yeah, that's the kind of understanding of the game that these guys have. Like that's the level. Like that's how good you have to be.
Yeah,
and those things you can't see in a 24-year-old. Honestly, I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, his time will come.
Like,
I think he's going to be.
yeah.
He's already quite good, but he's going to be like one of those late bloomers, like Modric is the
Hmm.
best example for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. On that note, we have 2 games again. I love it. Like this is a summer of complete football. Macedonia is playing Austria, not the most attractive game, but followed by Netherlands, finally back in the European Championship after what 2012. They were not there last year.
Oh
But
yeah,
then
they should be. They are the big team who will be. Oh, they got lucky. They are so lucky, Netherlands, with the group that they've gotten and everything.
yeah, but they're playing Ukraine. So very quickly, like predict your winner. The first one, North
I have a feeling
Macedonia.
Ukraine might pull it off because that Ukraine team is interesting. They've got interesting set of players. Like Zinchenko is there, then like Shevchenko is their coach. So that's an interesting layer to what's going on there. There's a couple of interesting players. I think Yarmolenko is there, and
Yarmolenko,
it's a good set of players. Like it's an
Zinchenko, yeah.
interesting set of players, and it's a set of players that have played together a lot. So
Yeah.
that is something that really helps, especially in a tournament with no like physically everybody's down. You can see it in the games.
Yeah,
And
I mean, the Netherlands team is like really looks good. Van Dijk would have helped more, but he's not there. And then I found it funny that the fans set up this plane over the training ground, asking the coach to like play 4-3-3.
4-3-3, yeah.
Is the classic Netherlands formation that they've played since the Cruyff days, and
Yeah, they
now
kind of like, isn't that the formation they basically invented under
yeah,
Michaels? Like, isn't
yeah.
the total football formation?
And
Yeah.
then Frank de Boer is like playing now 3-5-2. So, well, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked again, like if they shock themselves and not like make it further in the
Yeah, I think
tournament,
it's better
because
if they stick to 3-5-2 because undermining the coach undermining himself is the first mistake that generally happens in a tournament like this. Like,
yeah,
stick to your guns. Like, that makes more sense. Like,
yeah,
just stick to your, like, yeah, you'll most likely fail because you're not good enough, in my opinion. But stick to your guns. At least you can do that much.
yeah. I'm really looking forward to Memphis. Big fan of Defy. Oh God, like
It's a good team. It's a good team.
yeah.
But I have no expectations from them. Even the England game is today, isn't it? The England Croatia game is at 2 today.
Are they? Oh yeah. What
Yeah.
group D? Why are they playing before everybody? Oh wow. Okay. So we
It's
have
a
3 games.
Sunday and it's an English.
Oh, I'm like one day forward, man. Like I'm going one day forward. Like yesterday, I thought it was Sunday. Day before yesterday, I thought it's Saturday. Something is wrong in my system. Well, on that note, I have to really like, yeah, come to a
It's
conclusion
a
because
groove to get into, isn't it?
yeah,
Because like
it's
for me,
I
it
didn't
has been that.
I
Yeah.
didn't know there were 3 games. So like, yeah, the
Yeah.
next game is in a couple of hours. Let's predict that one as well. I mean, it's an aging, very experienced Croatia side, and
Oh.
this young guns with no experience. Although I think that they have experience. They fucking won the under-17 World
They
Cup.
don't have experience with England because nobody has. Like that, the under 17 is the only thing that they've won in a
Yeah.
long time. So.
I mean, the under-20 football FIFA World Cup as well. So
Didn't they win under 17 also? I think
yeah,
Brewster and these guys went and
yeah,
won now.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was in India only, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm still putting my money on Croatia, or
Oh
maybe
no, I would put my money on England. I think this Croatia team, the golden generation is done. That
yeah.
was the World Cup was their last tournament.
I mean, this is what I was telling about Belgium. So if I saw like the way Russia performed yesterday, I mean, I think if that trend is to follow, then Croatia they are just going to be run over by these.
Well, they should be, but well, Luka Modric is in the team. There's no lack
as
of
long
guile
as
there.
he's there, as long
Like
as
not even Modric. There's so many good, experienced, intelligent players in that team. That's what led them to the World Cup final in the first place.
And one Champions League winner at least for the last 5 seasons. So
yeah,
Kovacic, who was in 20, who won Bayern Munich. So Perisic, Lovren, Modric. So they've had like one Champions
and
League win.
Kovacic also sprinkled in a couple of times there also, right?
Yeah, without actually playing. I think he's played like 47 minutes, and he has
he
4
didn't play much in one of their Champions League campaigns. Yeah.
So they know how to win, but like, wow, I'm checking like the average age 28.2, and England. I mean, they're also quite like decent. I thought their average age would be like 23. They would be the youngest squad, but it's 26. given like, yeah. So
Well, they do have a couple of older heads, like with especially
well,
Walker is
Walker,
old, and
Walker and Kane.
Kane is reasonably old, and I don't think Henderson will start.
No,
So I
Phillips
think that
and
average age will drop a bit with Henderson not being there.
mhm. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Uh, yeah. Anything to add on to before? Yeah, I just
Well, okay. Are we in agreement that France is the odds-on favorite to win this thing?
I think there's only one team that can stop France. They can.
That's there in their group, isn't it?
No, there are two teams that can stop France. It's France B and France C, who are not playing in the tournament.
They didn't win. Did they? They didn't win the under 21s, did they? Though the under
No,
21 Euros.
Germany won. They were playing Portugal
Yeah.
in the final. So
Yeah.
yeah, looks like they are back on track. At least the younger generation. The older ones,
Well,
they
yeah, the
seem
German team. Well, I think Hansi Flick will automatically like that
he'll
will
he'll
change, be a huge change in fortunes for Germany, I believe.
he'll bring the mojo back. But I already feel like once like Muller is back, Hummels is back. Hummels, of course, slow. Like
Yeah, like that's
he's
the
he's not
typical
he's
German thing, right? Yeah.
he's not the player that he was, but like with Muller, another dimension, experience, always
Hmm.
goals on the international stage, on the biggest stage. So he's gonna give them that.
Nothing else, just a World Cup winner who was a integral part of the World Cup winning team. Like that's more than enough, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
that's what this team lacks. It lacks leaders, and it lacks a like because I don't know what happened to Lowe. I think he's stuck in this job for too long. I think he should have gone after the World Cup,
Yeah.
and they completely they feel headless. Like this German team feels a bit headless, in my opinion.
Chicken without heads. No, the thing is like I think this was his philosophy, like to keep bringing up younger talent, but the newest younger talent generation, they just did not have somebody to like inspire them, because in 2010 when they won the under 21s with that generation, Ozil, Khedira, Neuer,
Yeah.
Hummels, Mertesacker, Gomez was there, I guess, or maybe not. So like that under 21s, and then
Hmm.
this under 21 they went to the World Cup, and who did they have like to look up to? They already had like Schweinsteiger there, who was like the leader there, and
Schweinsteiger,
close
Klose,
closer
and like Podolski was also there. Like
Podolski.
even though Podolski was not that level of player,
Yeah.
then there was a lot of there were a lot of interesting players. Like
So yeah, and
Lehman
then
was there for a while, but he then left out, and then there were
they
a lot of
peaked.
guys there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they peaked in 14. So and what Lowe did not do after 14 was integrate more younger players. And then after the 18 World Cup, he decided, okay, back from scratch. I don't need any like leaders. So he just like started doing it with the young ones, and 3 years, and it's not led to anything. And now he has to go back to Hummels and Muller. So it was waste of
Yeah,
3 years.
I think after a certain point, right, like you just it's stagnation, and I think stagnation is a huge problem in football. And I think this German team overall stagnated after 2014. Like they should have started looking for replacements, and Lowe should have started like because honestly, looking forward, what is Joachim Lowe going to do as a in terms of football management in this? Like who's going to take on Joachim Lowe's? Like his stock is means nothing right now, in my opinion. Which team is going to back him? Like he can go to lower teams which will be lucky to have him. Like that is always an option. But at the level that which he is, like you're the German national team coach, the next coach that is coming in was a Bayern Munich coach. So you'll expect that kind of level, right? There are like 15, 20, 30 clubs in the world that can actually be the right place for this somebody like this, like the benchmark sense. But I don't think any of those 30 clubs would be interested in him right now.
Yeah.
Everton might be a good shot, honestly.
Yeah, but to answer your question, like are France odds on winners? I think we previewed this, like we previewed the Europa League final, Villarreal, Manchester United. So basically England versus Spain. And I can't remember, maybe it was in my head and I did not like actually put it out to you, but I was like,
Okay.
or you also mentioned it, like we don't know anything about this Villarreal team. And that is the biggest factor or the X factor that they're carrying along with them.
Yeah.
And it is the same thing with Spain. Like people have just like forgotten them. since their glory days. It's been like 9 years
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah.
and I
I
think
think that's what made Italy dark horses rather than Spain. The exact thing you're talking about.
yeah,
That we don't really know much about.
but if you still like compare man to man Italy and
Oh
Spain,
no, man to man Spain are better, but
yes,
there's a bit of turmoil around the squad, and there's a lot of aesthetic things around the team that doesn't make them look great. But Luis Enrique, we know what
he's
kind of
back.
manager
Yeah,
he is.
he's back. So like,
Yeah,
yeah, I think watch out for them. Like they are my
yeah. That's
that's,
fair. Yeah, that's
my X factor.
but the biggest problem that this Spain squad has is they don't have that number 9 goal scorer. Like Alvaro Morata, I think is I am not a fan,
I mean,
honestly.
they've all they had a good number 9, and they had 2. Like they were blessed with Villa and Torres, and then they always wanted to play one, and now they have nobody. So who is going to play that?
Well,
So,
like nothing against Gerard Moreno. Gerard Moreno is good, but there's a lack of test. Like he's not been tested at the highest level, and Morata has been. And the problem with Morata is like the best way to describe for me to describe Alvaro Morata. He's a hard worker. That's the best way I can describe.
classic Atleti player.
Like there is nothing that he does that is actually he's elite at or really good at. Like he's an okay presser. He's okay finisher. Can head the ball, especially Cesc Fabregas is providing it. Maybe Cesc Fabregas should put on a pair of boots for the Spain team. Maybe that's how Morata will score a few goals.
Or maybe he should play at 9, but neither Fabregas is at the Euros now. I feel they like use the 2012 system where you don't have a striker as well, because Fabregas was the one who played as the false 9. I'm looking at the squad right now. If you don't want to play Morata,
who do you put in? Yeah, who's this false 9 you're putting in? I'm very interested now.
I mean, maybe a Marcus Llorente, or
that's actually brilliant. That's a brilliant idea, because that's basically what Marcus Llorente has been doing this season, isn't it?
He can run from the one goal post, one
exactly. Like and you just have to reduce the distance that he has to run to goal now.
yeah. And so I think that's my bet.
Yeah, I didn't think of Marcus Llorente. That's actually a brilliant idea.
Because
credit where credit's due. That's a brilliant idea.
He's a midfielder, and where do you like put him? Like Busquets is going to play, Thiago is going to play, and then there's one spot. Is it between Fabian Ruiz, Koke, Rodri, or Ferran Torres, or Pedri? Because Pedri will bring like.
I'm interested. I think Pedri will get that shot, because well, when somebody's 18 years old and Messi wants to really play with them, there is something special about that 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Like Ansu Fati and Pedri, I think these two guys we have to look out for long term, because like Messi just doesn't like anyone. Like Messi doesn't like Antoine Griezmann, and Griezmann is Griezmann. So there's something about that guy, and the way he was able to, like, I think the La Masia thing, like with the Xavi and Iniesta, they finally found somebody who's in that same kind of, like, the same way, the mentality, the way they work, the ideas that they have. Like, obviously, I'm not trying to hype Pedri up to be that good. Like, there are so many factors in a player's career that can change the trajectory. Yeah, but I think there is somebody, like, if Messi is able to appreciate that, and if you're getting an endorsement from the best player of all time, in my opinion, that there is something there. There is something about that guy that will take him to the top.
There's also, I'm checking the squad again, the defense, a lot to be desired again, but I think if they have to go through, they have to play just these 4 players all the games. Like Aspi on the right, my God, he's my favorite non-Liverpool player. Azpilicueta. Oh, Jesus, what a guy. And he's never got his credit for.
No doubt about it. Like Azpilicueta.
Even in the Spain squad, because there was always a right back for them, like who could cover up for them. So
Jordi Alba is the bigger problem, in my opinion, because Azpilicueta, whatever he is, like, honestly, if you put him in the right system and you put him in the right mental space, like, that's what Frank Lampard wasn't able to do. Frank Lampard did not know how to handle somebody like Cesar Azpilicueta, even though he's supposed to be one of the easier guys to handle, because he's always for the team. That's his mentality. Like, those are the kinds of players that you want them in your team if you're managing them. Like, these are the guys who will inspire the others around them. And I think that's what I don't know. There is just something about his attitude, the way he carries himself, the personality, that if I was a player in that Chelsea squad, I'd be like, yeah, this is the guy I want to go into battle with. Like that, he's an inspiring person, in my opinion. And
Or maybe
That is why I don't know. Like the Jordi Alba thing, I'm questioning. I'm really not sure on that.
I mean,
I don't know if he has the legs anymore.
yeah, he doesn't have 32, but like instead of him, like Jose Luis Gaia is always a good bet. Like Valencia left back.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Gaia is another weird one. Like he was supposed to be one of the best left backs at a certain point, and then his star just faded. Like people completely forgot about him by the looks of it.
So in
He's
that
still
case,
somehow at Valencia, who basically tried to sell their entire team.
and yeah, I mean, but what I'm trying to like bring to the point, like with the backline, is maybe play Aspi on the left and play Eric Garcia on the right, because this guy is like already taking coaching lessons, so he has his head straight in the game, and he's just 20 years old. And yeah, basically Barcelona again I think they finally got lucky with not paying for somebody who's caliber.
Who's actually going to help them, yeah.
Yeah. 20-year-old already, like,
yeah, let's not get into the Aguero thing, man.
already discussing tactics with Pep, and already also telling him like, okay, maybe he should have given him some tips for the final. It would have worked out the charm. But yeah, great that Laporte decided to change alliance.
Oh, that's such a break for Spain, isn't it? Now they automatically a striker, a player that you have not molded at all, ready-made, packaged to you.
Yeah, and could like be the level of Ramos. Like
he could be in the team for 10 years. Nobody would blink an eye.
And then like big fan of Pau Torres. Like he should be partnering.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt. Like I watched one game of Pau Torres and he was excellent. He was superb. His understanding again, another defender who understands everything around.
That's what you expect from Spain, no? From the Spanish players. So they filled their they filled their midfield a lot, because they obviously don't have strength in the front, and their back line is pretty solid. Again, no superstars. You don't know much about.
Yeah, but the four have to be there. Like if one of them drops, and if I had to bet on it, I would bet on Jordi Alba pulling up somewhere in the second game. Then what happens? Like Gaia is there, but I don't know if Gaia is going to provide what Jordi Alba would have provided. Especially because you talked about it, their front line is not great. So Jordi Alba becomes an extremely important option for their attacking purpose also, right?
Yeah.
And Busquets is not there. I don't know. I don't know if they'll miss Busquets, to be honest.
I mean, Busquets is there, but I don't know if...
Yeah, like the COVID thing. So at least a couple of games he's gone. So...
Yeah. Well, we've previewed Spain a lot, I think. Maybe because... yeah.
The teams that are interesting, we'll talk about them, right? I guess.
Yeah.
Like it's...
But for this one, let's finish on this note, and maybe try to preview France tomorrow, and then Germany day after tomorrow, and like...
Yeah, we can keep talking about individual teams at the end.
All right, guys, on that note, if you've really made it up to this stage, thanks. We really appreciate it. And gonna have a lot of fun in the next 1 month, and like actually keep it a little more lighter. We couldn't do it today because of the Ericksen situation. But it's gonna be funnier and shorter the next few days or the next 1 month. Let's see how it goes on. We are looking forward to seeing you again. On that final thoughts, which is the game that you're looking forward to today the most?
It has to be England-Croatia, because I want to see if this England team is for real. That's all. I'm not buying it till now. I'm still not buying it.
It's not.
Yeah.
Not gonna be. In our lifetime, trust me, Brood.
Well, they're overhyped, and I want to kind of see them fall on their face also.
Yeah,
I'm irritated by the England hype. It pisses me off.
Are you irritated? I mean, I've given up like 10 years back, like especially. I mean, they do it all the time.
They didn't do it much for the 2018 thing, and I wasn't this into the whole like understanding of how these things work, and the media thing I understand a lot better than I used to. And I hate the way they're being like, you can support your team, you can want your team to succeed, like be in right in these cases, like be in right in most cases, but like he wants to cheer the team on, but he doesn't want to overhype it and oversell it and try and tell you that this England team is a team of conquerors, or Phil Foden looking like Gaza will make him Euro 94 Gaza or whatever the fuck they want him to be. It's so irritating. And I'm extending this and I apologize, but
no worries,
dude, his hair looks terrible and people are not saying that. Like if Pogba had done the same, he would have been bashed. I would have bashed him. And that is why I'm bashing Foden also. because the white guys should not always get away with this kind of shit. And honestly, isn't that what it is? Like, that is why I brought it up, because I think it's important to bring these kinds of things up to tell you, like, especially with the knee thing, it's a ridiculous thing that's happening. The booing, especially, it happened yesterday, and good on Lukaku to slap the shit out of these fuckers.
Yeah.
Like, they deserved it. The St. Petersburg crowd deserved a fucking ball in their face for doing that. And I think Lukaku answered it very well. And then this parallel encapsulates the situation quite well. If you want to understand why black people are kneeling and why people in support of them are kneeling, like, this tells you, like, Phil Foden was hype. They were putting up hype videos on him. The England Instagram account is going to do that. That's fair on them. And they would have hyped anybody else also. But the reaction of the people to his hair compared to the reaction of somebody like, if Marcus Rashford or Raheem Sterling would have done something to their hair, the Sun would have put it in the front page and be like, is Marcus Rashford senile, or some stupid ass thing they would have come up with.
Let's not give them so much attention. They don't deserve.
Oh no, it's infuriating, man. It's infuriating. That's all. Like, that is why I am so done with this England nonsense. Like, honestly, these assholes deserve to fall in their face. It's not the fault of Gareth Southgate. It's not the fault of the player. But just to see these fuckers cry, like, I would be glad if England perform poorly in this tournament. And there's a lack of objectivity when they look at this. And like, even if Southgate loses, he should be like, even if they don't do well, they're not supposed to be favorites. They're not the best team in this group. There are a bunch of young players. Most of them are so young. They're 21, 22. Like, the person you're relying on, the person who's supposed to be Gaza, is 20 years old. Come on, like, get over yourselves. You're not the best team in this. France are overwhelming the best. Like, Portugal is a close second, and England are a distant fifth or sixth or something like that.
True. Yeah. Well, reviewed a little bit of England as well on that note. See you guys tomorrow. Let's say.
Yeah. We are doing this, aren't we? We are in.
Yeah. Let's do this. All right, cheers. Have a nice Sunday, and look forward to all these games. And we are going to review it tomorrow. So have a nice Sunday and see you tomorrow. Ciao.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.